Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloki Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnanjanashalakya Chakshurunmilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namne Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayane Gaurgatha Damdaya Nagar Gram Tarni Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharne Nirvisesh Sunhvadi Paschat Deshtarne Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 4 Chapter 9 Text 29 Continuation of the first purport. Yes.
Yes, one. Yes, one. The sixth paragraph.
Sixth paragraph.
Therefore, Vaishnava philosophers do not accept Sayuja Mukti.
Okay. Thank you. Therefore, Vaishnava philosophers do not accept Sayujya Mukti to be within the category of Mukti. According to them, Mukti means transferal to the loving service of the Lord from one's position of serving Maya. Lord Chaitanya also says in this connection that the constitutional position of a living entity is to render service to the Lord. That is real mukti. When one is situated in his original position, giving up artificial positions, he is called mukta or liberated. In the Bhagavad Gita, this is confirmed. Anyone who engages in rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord is considered to be a mukta or brahmabhuta. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that a devotee is considered to be on the brahmabhuta platform when he has no material contamination. In the Padma Purana, this is also confirmed. Mukti means engagement in the service of the Lord. So that is why devotees, pure devotees, I mean, initially our motivation for progressing in spiritual life is to go back to Godhead. But once we get the devotional service of the Lord, it doesn't matter where we are. The happiness comes from serving the Lord anywhere. And that is why you see all the Vaishnava Acharyas, when they're in their songs also, they say that even if I'm just a Indra Gopa germ, the smallest, living entity, very fallen, let me be there in a devotee's house so that I can hear Kirtan and so on. I can engage in some service. So this is the thing, they don't even ask for mukti or liberation from birth and death. They don't mind. Mama janmani janmanishwari bhavatat bhakti rahaitu ki tvai. So they're only craving for the bhakti. Why? Because that is our original position. And only that will satisfy us. Nowhere else. Even if we go up to Brahmaloka, we may think, oh, if I go to that planet or if I have this particular situation and so on, we think that will make us happy. Or that I go and become liberated and go and merge in the Brahma Jyoti, then freedom from all suffering. But freedom from suffering may be there. But the greatest suffering is not being connected with Krishna in the original position. And so they are there also, they feel dissatisfied and then they come back, they don't know anything better. They thought it was better In the material world, at least there was some variety, and we could talk to people and have some relationships. So they come back. So that is also not real mukti. Real mukti is to be in our original position, that anywhere, anyone can do it. I mean, human birth is especially valuable and meant for understanding this with our intelligence. Krishna acts, I mean, it is the intelligence, material intelligence is given by Krishna, by which we actually identify ourselves completely with the body. Dream, I mean, the three states of being, which is wakefulness, dream state, and deep sleep. All these things are perceived by us. How? Through the intelligence, material intelligence. Material intelligence is in the mode of passion. And imagine, actually, we are not this body at all, we are the soul. And how do we make, I mean, Krishna is making us believe that we are this body completely. How does he do? By giving us this material intelligence by which we are aware, we experience, we think that when I'm awake, I am awake. And then when I'm sleeping, through my intelligence, I understand. Now, I mean, during sleep, of course, in the stage of dreaming, we experience something and we think we are experiencing it. That is also because of the material intelligence. And deep sleep is we're not aware of anything. But when we wake up, we know that I was sleeping. So all these states of being are created through material intelligence by the Lord. And in the human birth, this intelligence is increased to also contemplate about the soul. Normally, people are only aware about their body and their mind. Mind also not so much about their body, senses, what do I want, and whatever intelligence. Intelligence is in the mode of passion and the material intelligence. So normally people are only, the intelligence is used only for material happiness. But in the human form of life, we're also given, and we have the capacity to also get the spiritual intelligence to understand about the soul. And when we understand that, then we realize, I mean, we are curious, how can I be happy, free from all the misery? Not only, um, freedom from misery, but we want positive happiness that is never ending, that is always increasing. And that happiness comes out of loving relationship with Krishna. And the soul is not affected by any body, actually. But of course, because devotional service involves contemplation, the use of spiritual intelligence, only the human beings can render that. And among the human beings also, to come to the level of spiritual awakening, that requires many, many births of, suffering in this material world. And then we start inquiring, why? What is this all about? Then is there some, how do we get out of this situation? That is when they start inquiring, what is the purpose of this life? What is the meaning of life? And then there are different literatures through different methods to come out of, this material identity. But they're all trying to escape this material world. But a devotee whose soul is awakened, and Krishna is just here, Krishna is in the heart. And so once the soul gets a connection with Krishna, he feels very enlivened. Then it doesn't matter where you are. Krishna is there. That is the only consideration. So he is the mukta, and we can experience Krishna only when we have a mood of service. Everything, when he is in the Brahma Bhuta platform, when he has no material contamination. So the identification with the body and mind should completely stop. And that can stop only when we stop desiring sense gratification. It's not possible to stop on our own. And that's why we have to beg the Lord, please, because bhakti cannot be got through our own endeavor. Jnana, Vairagya, all that we can get. Yoga, Siddhis, even those through our own endeavor we can get. But bhakti to the Lord can only come when the soul is pulled out from this, wrong identification through the mercy of the pure devotee and the Supreme Lord. It's very, very, very special. And that is why we should not feel that I, on my own, I will get Krishna Prem by my own endeavors. No, we have to depend on the mercy. So, another feature of spiritual progress in Bhakti Yoga is humility and surrender, which is not expected in all other forms. Jnanis, yogis, they don't need to be humble for for their spiritual progress, because and when they come, because they are all lower forms of evolution, and when you come to the state where you understand that only the Lord is the eternal truth, and my getting my relationship with him is the only complete truth, and that, to in order to understand, to have a relationship with the Lord, that is when false ego has to go away. Until then, that is why jnanis, yogis, they have a lot of false ego, and still they have got a lot of powers and all that, because there is no relationship with Krishna. All the problem is only in our relationship with Krishna, to accept that he is the absolute authority over us, and he is the only enjoyer, and we are meant to be completely subjected to his control, to his enjoyment, for his pleasure. We exist only for his pleasure. Are we ready to accept that kind of complete surrender with no envy at all, thinking, oh, you know, I also want to have myself as the center? That is, I mean, this is the tug of war. Ultimately, devotional service is the most difficult because it addresses the crux of the problem, why we are here. Not that we like the material world. We came here because we didn't want to be with Krishna. That is the reason. We were not attracted by material world. We left Krishna because, or rather, we were made to leave Krishna because we didn't want to be so submissive or put Krishna in the center, and we are around that center. But here we want ourselves to be the center. So this is where the problem lies in our. So for a devotee, that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, best is you just become humble, become more tolerant than a tree and more humble than a blade of grass, then very easily you will make progress in spiritual life. The great sage Maitreya explained that Dhruva Maharaja did not desire in the beginning to engage in the service of the Lord, but he wanted an exalted position better than his great grandfathers. This is more or less not service to the Lord, but service to the senses. Even if one gets the position of Brahma, the most exalted position in this material world, he is a conditioned soul. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati says that if one is elevated to real pure devotional service, he considers even great demigods like Brahma and Indra to be on an equal level with an insignificant insect. The reason is that an insignificant insect has a desire for sense gratification, and even a great personality like Lord Brahma also wants to dominate this material nature. So that is the root cause of our disease, wanting to dominate and make ourselves the center of our lives. That is the disease. And sense gratification means domination over material nature. The whole competition between conditioned souls is based upon domination of this material nature. Modern scientists are proud of their knowledge because they are discovering new methods to dominate the laws of material nature. They think that this is the advancement of human civilization. The more they can dominate the material laws, the more advanced they think they are. Dhruv Maharaja's propensity in the beginning was like that. He wanted to dominate this material world in a greater position than Lord Brahma. Therefore, elsewhere it is described that after the appearance of the Lord, when Dhruv Maharaja thought and compared his determination to his final reward, he realized that he had wanted a few particles of broken glass, but instead had received many diamonds. As soon as he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face, he immediately became conscious of the unimportance of his demand from the Lord to have an exalted position better than Lord Brahma's. So there is a gulf of difference between the relationship of the Devatas with Krishna and the pure devotees have with Krishna. Because the Devatas are still wanting some domination, they want some position, they want some sense gratification. So they're, they don't understand Krishna fully. But and Krishna is also keeps a distance. It's not that Devatas can see the Lord, but very few, rarely. Not that every now and then they can see the Lord, because the Lord remains hidden. Though Vamana Dev, when he appears as the brother of Indra, then every day he gives darshan. Morning, Indra worships him and all that, and then he goes away. But limited association compared to pure devotees who want Krishna all the time with them. And the gopis are so addicted to Krishna that they don't want even the eyes to blink. That little fraction of a second also, they don't want to miss the sight of the Lord. So that is the difference. Sense gratification means, okay, when Dhruv Maharaja became situated on the Vasudeva platform, due to seeing the Lord face to face, all his material contamination was cleared. Thus he became ashamed of what his demands were and what he had achieved. He was very much ashamed to think that although he had gone to Madhuvana, giving up the kingdom of his father, and he had gotten a spiritual master like Narada Muni, he was still thinking of revenge against his stepmother and wanted to occupy an exalted post within this material world. These were the causes for his moroseness, even after he received all the desired benedictions from the Lord. So that is the danger of wanting something material in exchange for devotional service. Because afterwards we'll definitely regret it. Oh, I'm stuck up here. Imagine, I could have asked for pure devotional service. Even any material situation doesn't satisfy the soul. When Dhruv Maharaja factually saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there was no question of a revengeful attitude towards his stepmother, nor any aspiration to lord it over the material world. But the Supreme Personality is so kind that he knew that Dhruv Maharaja wanted these. Speaking before Dhruv Maharaja, he used the word Vedaham, because when Dhruv Maharaj demanded material benefits, the Lord was present within his heart and so knew everything. The Lord always knows everything a man is thinking. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita also. Vedaham samati thani. The Lord fulfilled all Dhruv Maharaja's desires. His revengeful attitude towards his stepmother and stepbrother was satisfied. His desire for a more exalted position than that of his great grandfather was also fulfilled. And at the same time, his eternal position in Dhruvaloka was fixed. Although Dhruv Maharaja's achievement of an eternal planet was not conceived of by him, Krishna thought, what will Dhruva do with an exalted position within this material world? Therefore, he gave Dhruva Maharaja the opportunity to rule this material world for 36,000 years with unchangeable senses and the chance to perform many great sacrifices and thus become the most reputed king within this material world. And after finishing with all this material enjoyment, Dhruva would be promoted to the spiritual world, which includes the Dhruva Loka. So Dhruvaloka is part of spiritual world. Now wait with me, my Prabhu. Where is that? This thing. Do you have it?
No, Mataji, I could not see the question.
Okay. Here he is saying Dhruva would be promoted to the spiritual world, which includes the Dhruvaloka, because it is eternal world, and maybe it is just an expansion of the spiritual world, Vaikuntha planet, where Lord is residing. So Krishna fulfilled in all possible ways so that Dhruva Maharaja does not have any material desire left, and he can completely come back to him. So this is the benefit of surrendering to Krishna. He knows more than us. He knows inside the heart what and all is stuck there, and he knows how to remove it, and he knows how to elevate us and take us back to Godhead. So what we need to learn is only trust Krishna completely, have faith in him. From time to time, there'll be tests. Maya will keep putting doubts. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I should also do something material. Who knows? Maybe Krishna won't do, because we can't see Krishna, and so we always doubting. But we have to use the Shastra and the words of the sadhus and Guru and have complete faith. Faith is an internal, it is the quality of the soul, whereas doubt is the quality of the mind. And again, it is the fight between the soul and the mind. And so that is why, by the strength of our devotional service, we must keep on fortifying, again and again, surrender to the will of the Lord and understanding. That's why Shastra, Krishna is also always, he is very, very alert. Who can be a better friend than Krishna? We want friends in this material world who are very sensitive, responsive, understanding, there by your side at all times, whenever you need, and very, very responsive. We want that, right? We don't find such friends in the material world. We have a desire, but generally nobody is perfect. Here, it's not possible. Only Krishna can be a perfect friend, because he knows everything. We don't even have to tell him anything. He knows what we are going through. So he is the best responsive person. Even before we open our mouth, he knows. And he's always planning how to make my friend happy. Can you get a friend like that, who's always a well-wisher? And sometimes we even doubt him. I don't know if Krishna will do. I don't know what he's going to do, because because the mind puts doubts. Where is that Krishna? Are you able to see him? Who knows what he is up to? Maybe, he's not even interested in me. We have all kinds of doubts. And of course, and because we have to use our intelligence and surrender again and again. The Shastras are saying, sadhus are saying, gurus saying that only Krishna can take us out of this miserable situation. And then the Shastras are full of so many stories and live examples and everything about the psychology of Krishna, how he is towards his devotees. And in this way, Krishna enlivens us. My dear friend, don't lose heart. And sometimes he even chastises his devotee. Krishna, even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even punished Advaita Acharya once, because Advaita Acharya always had this, feeling that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why does he always respect me? All others are serving him. Me only is doing like this, because the happiness comes only in service. We think in the material life that if people respect us and treat us with great appreciation, and, we'll be very happy. But Advaita Acharya, he was very miserable, because he wanted to serve Lord Chaitanya. And then one day, what happened? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had gone. Normally, he would go for a walk around the town and come. So so then he saw some atheists. These atheistic people, they felt that Lord Chaitanya was very proud because he won't talk to all these ordinary people. He would just walk very casually and, you know, he didn't even look at them. He would only associate with his own devotees. So they thought that he is very proud. And so they went and told Nimai Pandit, you know what? This one of these days, the king is going to call you. Because uh, your loud kirtanas are disturbing everyone in the night. So Lord Chaitanya said, oh, if the king wants to see me, I'll be very happy to go give him darshan, because most materialistic people are not even interested in seeing me. So if somebody wants to see me, I'm very happy. So then the atheist sarcastically replied, you don't think that the king wants to discuss Shastra with you. He is only interested in talking about the kirtans. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he just ignored them. But, he was very, he was quite I mean, he didn't feel happy. Who will feel happy talking to atheistic people, the two who talk in a very negative way, put you down and ridicule your devotion? So then he went home. Then so they had kirtan. Let's have kirtan, and he was having. But then suddenly he stopped and he said, "I'm not feeling any happiness today. I don't know. Is it because of talking with those atheistic people, or have I offended any of you?" He went into that mood of introspection. And then, whereas Advaita Acharya, he was telling, he didn't even realize that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was really feeling like that. He didn't take it seriously. Yeah, and here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was lamenting and feeling so sad. And Advaita Acharya, he was in an ecstatic trance. And when he was, because he was always immersed in love for Krishna, and he didn't know what he spoke and did when he was in those trances. So he told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that, um, you are very merciful to everybody, to gardeners, people, laborers, and all. You're giving Krishna prem, and you are not giving Krishna prem to me and Srivas. Even you're giving to this Avaduta, Nityananda Prabhu. From somewhere he has arrived, and he has become the storekeeper of love for Krishna. But you are not benefiting us. So in this way, he was telling, and he was dancing in ecstasy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kept quiet. He didn't reply to what he said. Then suddenly he got up and walked out of the door, and he closed the door. And Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakura ran after him. And Lord Chaitanya went and jumped into the Ganga. And Nityananda and Haridas Thakura also jumped into the water and swam vigorously, following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Nityananda Prabhu went and caught hold of the hair, Shika of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Haridas Thakura caught hold of his lotus feet, and together they brought him to the shore. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Why did you bring me here? I don't want to live because I don't feel any Krishna prem. What is the use of living in this body when I don't have any Krishna prem?" So then Nityananda Prabhu said, the person uh, who is feeling all this pain is the person you're trying to achieve, or something like that. That is, you only are the one, you're trying to achieve yourself. And so something like that. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that, see, don't tell all the devotees anything of this. And I'm going to go, I'm not going to come, I'm going to hide myself. You don't tell anybody about all this. If you do, if you tell them, then I'm not responsible for the consequences. So Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakura went quietly and they didn't say anything. And the devotees were very upset. They thought, because these two came and said, we don't know where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. So they felt very miserable. They all went back to their houses, and Advaita Acharya especially, he felt very, very guilty. I'm the cause of Lord Chaitanya's, getting angry like this. And he fasted. He wasn't eating out also. Was feeling very miserable. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the usual hideout where everybody goes and hides one place. That is Nandana Acharya's house. And he went there and he sat on the altar. And Nandana Acharya, he decorated him, put the mala. I know, first he gave him fresh clothes because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu straight away came from the Ganga, right? He had jumped into the Ganga and then he had come. So he gave him fresh clothes and put sandalwood paste and took the garland from the deity and put it on Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, I want to hide in your house. And Nandanacharya said, my Lord, how is that possible? You're not able to hide. You are in the middle of the milk ocean. And there also, when pure devotees call you, you come. You're not able to hide there. You're not able to hide. Even you are inside the heart of every living entity. There also, you're not able to hide, because if anybody calls you in distress or something, you come out. So how do you expect to remain hidden in this city? Okay. So Lord Chaitanya was very happy with what he said. And then he smiled. And then, they were just talking, Lord Chaitanya and he, the whole night, they were discussing Krishna Katha. Then in the morning, what happened? He, now his anger had gone away. So he felt sad, he thought, oh, my poor devotees, they must be really suffering. So he told Nandanacharya, go and bring Srivas. And so Srivas Thakura came and he was like, when he saw Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he just went crazy and he was crying so much. And then after that, they took him. Then Srivas told about the piteous state of all the devotees and especially Advaita Acharya, how he's really very, very in total gloom and he's blaming himself and all that. So, and he's not eating at all the last 2 days. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went there. And then, of course, at that time, why did I say all this? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him that, see, sometimes the Lord chastises the devotees, his devotees. Why? Because he gives them some punishment. Because actually he wants to bring them closer to himself. And so that is the reason. So Advaita Acharya, hearing this, he became ecstatic. He said, see, that is what you punished me. So you are the master. My Lord, you unnecessarily praise me too much and then make me feel, you say that, you don't let me serve you like the others can do. And because of this, you make me proud. He thought out of pride only he said something, and that is the reason. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he said, from now on, I'm only, I'm going to be only a servant. I want your shelter and all that. So this is the mood. I mean, even the Supreme Lord, he is Mahavishnu and Shiva and all that. Even they want only eternal service to the Lord. They're not happy, even if the Lord gives them that position and says, you are my superior and all that. They hate it. They get very upset. So that is the greatest enjoyment of, and we have to understand, this is what the Shastras are telling. This is what we are hearing from the past times. The Lord himself has come just 500 years back and shown all these pastimes. And for us to understand what is perfection, what is the truth, what is real happiness. And only those things will keep us going. Otherwise, Mind will come up with various doubts. Because the material world is going in another direction altogether. Text 30. Dhruva uvacha samadhina naikabhavena yat padam vidhu sanandhadaya urdhvaretasa masair aham sadbhir amushya palayus tayam upetya pritanmati. Dhruva Maharaja thought to himself, to endeavor to be situated in the shade of the lotus feet of the Lord is not an ordinary task, because even the great brahmacharis, headed by Sanandana, who practiced Ashtanga Yoga in trance, attained the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet only after many, many births. Within 6 months, I have achieved the same result. Yet, due to my thinking differently from the Lord, I fell down from my position. Purport. In this verse, Dhruva Maharaja himself explains the cause of his moroseness. First, he laments that to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly is not easy. Even great saintly persons like the four celebrated brahmacharis headed by Sanandana, Sanaka, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara practiced the yoga system for many, many births and remained in trance before getting the opportunity to see the Supreme Lord face to face. As far as Dhruva Maharaja was concerned, he saw the Supreme Lord personally after only 6 months of practice in devotional service. He expected, therefore, that as soon as he met the Supreme Lord, the Lord would take him to his abode immediately without waiting. Dhruva Maharaja could understand very clearly that the Lord had offered him the rule of the world for 36,000 years because in the beginning he was under the spell of material energy and wanted to take revenge against his stepmother and rule over his father's kingdom. Dhruva Maharaja greatly lamented his propensity for ruling the material world and his revengeful attitude towards other living entities. So that is why seeing Dhruva Maharaja's life, and we should take lessons. Oh no, I'm not going to ask Krishna. Or even in our heart, we have the slightest desire for all that. Then we should think, oh no, it's going to increase my lifespan here. I'll leave it to Krishna, whatever you want, Krishna. And we understand that when we become happy in Krishna's service, in Krishna's company, how will we feel? In fact, we will not feel enmity or animosity towards any living entity. In that blissful state, we'll only feel compassion for everyone. And we'll really regret if on the bodily platform we've wished harm for other living. Only in material consciousness can we think of hurting other people, wishing bad for other people. That is the only reason that only in material consciousness we can think like that. Because in spiritual consciousness, Vasudeva state, we have to come to the Vasudeva state and then Vasudeva appears. Just like Vasudeva, his father, he was so pure in his mind, and in his mind, Vasudeva, Krishna appeared. And so we also have to come to that Vasudeva state, purity, where we only want to serve Krishna. Only desire for something other than service for Krishna makes us attached to this material world, material sense gratification. And then we forget, then Krishna becomes distant. That is the vidambana. We want this also, that also. But if you get this, that won't come. Krishna cannot come if we want this. So that is why we have to drop this, and at least mentally, Krishna, I don't want to aspire for all this. I only want you. When that comes in the what's that stage? Anartha Nivritti stage. By doing bhajana kriya very nicely, keep on chanting and praying and worshipping and serving, Then we come to the Anartha Nivritti stage where we can say, Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, jagat disha va kamaye, mama janmani janmanishwari, bhavatad bhaktir ahituki tvai. That is when we can truly say like that, I really don't want all those things. I only want you, Krishna. That is what Dhruv Maharaja made a mistake. Poor thing, he didn't know all this. He went to, that's why he was thinking, I went to Madhuvana, which is most purified place. And I had Narada Muni as my guru. And then with all this advantages, what was I thinking about? Taking revenge on my mother, stepmother and stepbrother and getting this kingdom. So that's what he was really repenting. And he thought he was regretting that. Imagine, as soon as I saw the Lord, where was the need to go back to the kingdom and all that? I can directly go back with Krishna. That's what he thought. Now I've seen the Lord, and he felt so much purified and very happy in his company. And then Krishna is saying, no, no, you go and rule for 36,000 years. He was shocked. Why should I go back? And now that Lord said, no, no, you do that because you desired it. You have it. But then he assured him that you will do it in a very Krishna conscious way. Don't worry, you'll not fall down. Because at the end of life, you'll also come to me in this, to the Shweta Dvipa and then to the Vaikuntha Loka. Everything he guaranteed him perfectly. So, but still he was morose. 36,000 years. Even a moment away from the Lord, a yogi cannot, cannot tolerate if he does not see the Lord even for a moment. That's what it says, that a yogi who has realized the Paramatma, he cannot be without seeing the Lord constantly. If for a moment also he disappears, then he becomes very, 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 very disturbed. So that is how he wanted. I mean, he already saw the Supreme Lord. What more is there to achieve? It's like you get everything. Suppose you get a big palace to live, and you think that, okay, now that is, I can have that as my residence, and instead you have to go back to a shack. Of course, here materially he is giving him a very nice position, but spiritually, for a devotee, it's like hell. Living with materialistic people, it's like it's easier to live in a place surrounded by fire. I says, devotee always says, "Oh Lord, I cannot live with materialistic people. It's better to live, surrounded by fire than be with all these atheistic people." So that is why he was regretting and feeling morose. I'll just do one more verse because that's small, isn't it? Aho bhatha mamanatmyam mandbhagyasya pashyata bhavachedid chedidha padamulam gatva yache yad antavat. Alas, just look at me. I'm so unfortunate. I approach the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can immediately cut the chain of repetition of birth and death. But still, out of my foolishness, I prayed for things which are perishable. For the word anatmiyam is very significant in this verse. Atma means the soul. The anatmiya means without any conception of the soul. Srila Rishabhdeva instructed his sons that unless a human being comes to the point of understanding the Atma, a spiritual position, whatever he does is ignorance. And this brings only defeat in his life. Dhruv Maharaja regrets his unfortunate position. For although he approached the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was always able to give his devotee the highest benediction of cessation of the repetition of birth and death, which is impossible for any demigod to offer, he foolishly wanted something perishable. When Hiranyakashipu asked immortality from Lord Brahma, Lord Brahma expressed his inability to offer such a benediction because he himself is not immortal. Therefore, immortality or complete cessation of the chain of repeated birth and death can be offered by the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead himself, not by others. Harim vinanas shritim taranti. It is said that without the blessings of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no one can stop the continuous chain of birth and death within this material world. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is also called Bhavachit. The Vaishnava philosophy in the process of Krishna consciousness prohibits the devotee from all kinds of material aspirations. A Vaishnava devotee should always be Anya Bilasita Sunya, free from all material aspirations for the results of fruitive activities or empiric philosophical speculation. Dhruv Maharaja was actually initiated by Narada Muni, the greatest Vaishnava, in the chanting of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This mantra is a Vishnu mantra. For by practicing the chanting of this mantra, one is elevated to Vishnu Loka. Dhruv Maharaja regrets that although he was initiated in the Vishnu mantra by a Vaishnava, he still aspired for material benefits. That was another cause for lamentation. Although he got the result of the Vishnu mantra by the costless mercy of the Lord, he lamented how foolish he was to have strived for material benefits while practicing devotional service. In other words, every one of us who is engaged in devotional service and Krishna consciousness should be completely free from all material aspirations. Otherwise, we will have to lament like Dhruva Maharaja. Yes, we don't want. Suppose we have some desire, and at the end of life, we thought of Ante Narayana Smriti, thought of Narayana, but Narayana said, no, my dear, you have some more desires to take birth. Oh, we'll feel cheated, isn't it? So that is why all the time Prabhupada is shepherding us. Don't go this way, that way. Only head for pure bhakti, only surrendering to the Lord and serving Him, only the spiritual world, only spiritual goals. How much He's shepherding. There can't be a better father, mother like Him than Him. Because Prabhupada is constantly guiding us. Nobody in ISKCON who reads Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita can ever dream of having any other aspiration, because it's been dinned into our head. Don't go there, only straight path. And we require that, because otherwise then we'll have to repent like Dhruv Maharaj. We have such a wonderful, we can't understand Prabhupada's glories enough. How compassionate he is, and what a strict, he's real custodian of devotees, making us aware of what we should aspire for. It's very confusing in the material world. Normally, people are very confused. They don't know what decisions to make, where to go, what to do, how to do, nothing they know. But Prabhupada has given us such a straight path. The goal is very clear. And then, when the goal is very clear, then we know which path to take. We'll always take the straight and narrow path which leads directly to the goal. We don't want to go here and there, take a longer route. So that's the amazing thing. How much Prabhupada brings has really given us Krishna in our lives. We can never be grateful enough to him. Krishna is the most valuable person to know. You see, when new people come and when they hear the wonderful message of Krishna and how happy and relieved they feel, from that we can understand how it is such a rare thing. People don't have that jewel-like knowledge about Krishna. And somehow, because of some good fortune, some devotee has blessed us, and then we also got this knowledge. But we have to be greedy like Advaita Acharya. He had everything and still he is saying, I don't have Krishna Prem. and you're giving everybody other than me. So we have to be greedy like that, miserly, greedy. I want. Only this you can demand from Krishna. Give me Krishna Prem. This moment, Prabhupada said, in a moment you can get it. So Krishna, please give me this moment. We have to be greedy for that and keep pestering Krishna for that. Of course, we have to say, causeless mercy, I don't deserve it at all, but I want it. That if you're hankering for, then Krishna is very happy. And whatever our lives will be glorious. We don't have to use our mind to think how my life should be. Our heart is where the lotus feet of the Lord should decide everything about our life. Many times we'll be tested. Material life means a lot of problems. And then the mind will come up with so many different things. And we may be dissatisfied. Oh, I did so much Krishna consciousness, but still so many problems, difficulties. But Krishna, we should remember what Krishna told Advaita Acharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that everything in my devotee's life is just to make him come closer to me. So if we remember that, then we'll never forget Krishna. In all circumstances, in all situations, every moment, he is the goal. He is the goal. He is the means also to the goal. He is only shelter. Then how? I mean, even what Prabhupada said, that even things that you can easily do, for example, you've got your degree, you know the knowledge, and you in your job, you know what to do. You don't need to pray to Krishna for that. So many atheistic people are also doing their job very nicely. But a devotee should not be foolishly proud and think, I know everything, I've studied, I know how to do, I'm very smart. But even the things that so-called knowledge he has, even for that, he has to be dependent on Krishna. Krishna, without your mercy, nothing will happen properly. And so that way we can always, if we want everything to be really perfect, anything can go wrong. We know that in material life. So we can never be sure about anything. And so a devotee is always aware, conscious of the fact that without Krishna's mercy, nothing can happen. And that is our safety, our protection. So never feel sure about anything. The only thing sure is Krishna's lotus feet. I meditate on Krishna's lotus feet, then you can be sure everything will be fine. And will be tested, of course. That is all the situations where it's like easy to forget lotus feet and go running and feeling anxious and about all other things. But that is when all this knowledge will be very, very effective. We'll know that don't worry, don't be disturbed. Just think about his lotus feet and pray to him, and things will work out. So that is why that is the advantage of reading all these great pastimes of the great pure devotees who achieved Krishna. And we know that is the greatest achievement. We should only aspire to get Krishna completely in our lives. Nothing else is worth having. Okay. Thank you very much, Hari Krishna. Any questions or comments?